Greetings, War Thunderers. This is Longshot with you again. A couple of days ago I released a video, a tutorial showing how to fly the J2M2 tactics to make the most of its strengths and some key weaknesses that must be avoided. If you haven't already seen that video and you have annotations turned on, there is a link to that vid now on your screen. Anyway, as part of the footage that I collected in making that video, I flew it in this particular game where my plane was right on top of the matchmaking ladder. I think there are only a couple of other 3.3 battle rated planes in the game. Everything else was pretty much 3.0 or below. As you can see, it's an air domination game, and very soon I'll not only be on top of the matchmaking, I'll also be on top of the altitude tree as well. And in a plane that's a boom and zoomer, that's a recipe for carnage, provided I don't make any mistakes. Hence I was reluctant to include this in the tutorial video, because it pretty much is just clubbing, although it does demonstrate the tactics yet again that make the most of what this plane can do. And there were a few moments where I was put under a bit of pressure in the battle. Nevertheless, I was a bit unsure as to whether to upload it as a separate vid, so I posted a poll, and as you can see, the responses were fairly overwhelming in favour of putting it online, so I've decided to do so. I've commented after the fact as the video runs, totally unscripted though. Hopefully I can remember what I did and why, and I hope this video is of help to you and that you find it entertaining as well, perhaps. Anyway, as you can see, I've now reached 4,500 meters. I've climbed at quite a high speed, higher than usual in this plane. Its best climb rate's about 270 to 280 kilometers an hour IAS, and I've climbed at around 300 or more. And the reason being that the air domination maps are so close together with the spawns that you don't know if you're going to be bounced in a hurry, particularly when there's a bit of cloud around, and you need a bit of speed under your belt. Okay, but now I'm up here. All the enemies that were at altitude have dropped right down to the deck, and so I could spend the whole game circling around up here doing nothing if I wanted, but that would be rather boring. So I'm going to go straight into some boom and zoom attacks. There's no bombers swarming, it's purely fighters. And the first target is this IL-2 that does seem to be trying to claw up to altitude, or at the very least hold his altitude. And that's a very good sign for this game. The cannons are working. I'm going to continue my run right down to ground level. Those two guys were already dead before I got there, but I can pick up this hurricane. Right, then up into a zoom climb. Now I got right down into, I think, 500 meters or so in that dive. Let's see how much I can recover. A Stuka's spawned. There possibly could be a D5. I need to check. No, it's a B2. Okay, it's still doing over 300 kilometers an hour, and I decided to M1 maneuver, so I don't get too slow by the time I've leveled off, and then I can very quickly accelerate again. My height's only about 2,500, which is not high enough, so I'm going to continue to slowly gain energy, but the most important thing here is keeping my speed high rather than clawing for altitude as fast as I can. And while I do so, I'm watching the line of incomings to see if anyone else has it in their mind to climb up. Now, the same guy I just shot down in the IL-2 has returned in another one, and he does seem to be slowly trying to gain altitude. It's not an easy thing to do in that plane, and I have to disabuse him of that notion. Just dropping in, and he's turning straight over into a dive. Saw me coming this time. Fair enough. Okay, I won't get anything by pursuing him from a tail end perspective there, so I'm just pulling straight out again. And a swordfish has spawned. It's a bit early in the game for swordfish, isn't it? As it turned out, this guy I think had one hurricane and everything else was biplanes. That shows what the matchmaking was like. And it also shows why I think this plane probably should be a 3.7. On its flight model alone it could probably go a bit higher, but it has weaknesses with its cannon and its damage model that I feel would prejudice too much against it if it was. I was tempted to leave this swordfish just flying around. It really is clubbing seals taking these down, but on the other hand, he does have a gunner at the back. He does have a single 303 cal gun at the front, either of which is capable of nicking my fuel tank and ending my day. So I'd rather put him out of his misery. Okay, there's a climbing Yak 7 over there. If he keeps coming up, I'll dive in and deal with him. But he has a MiG-3 on his tail. Quick check of the 6, and the Yak 7's gone. Okay. Circle back around and see what there is to see. You can see how important it is in this mode to contest altitude. I am completely free to do whatever I want up here. Simply because no one on the other team has bothered to make a fight for it. Okay, F4F. At the very least he's holding his altitude, if not climbing. And that's enough to make him a target. He's also not trying to avoid me at all either. Can't just fly straight like that. Alright, 4 very easy kills to start the game, looping straight over in case this P-36 wants to climb. No. Okay, better gain a bit of altitude or I'll find myself dogfighting down at their spawn height. I can just keep looping like this all day long, as long as I keep my speed up. F4F is definitely looking like he wants to climb now. So where the corner of my eye a bomber spawn in. Actually the SU-2 is climbing too, so I'll switch to him and hope to switch back to the F4F afterwards. But the cannons that were working earlier on have decided to take a bit of a holiday. And there's the bomber, he's picked me out. And he'll have plenty of energy because he's dived down in order to get onto me. But I have plenty of energy as well. I'm going to lead him up into a spiral climb. Let's see how he handles that. There's also a Hurricane trailing after him as well. So there's a couple of planes looking to take me on. I expect that bomber to stall at any moment. His nose is starting to drop, but that just lets his dorsal gunner have a shot at me. But no, he's not stalling. Interesting. It's not just fighters that can be UFOs in this game. The Blenheim can be as well. In fact, I'm out of speed and in danger of stalling myself. I need to duck my nose under, pick up a few more kilometres an hour. And he really does want to dogfight me, and he can outturn me, obviously. So it really is energy games I have to play with him, rather than trying to get on his tail. In the meantime, here's the Hurricane, who's presented nicely as a target. Okay. And the other thing I can do with the Blenheim is simply fly away from him. So I'm easily putting distance on him there. And I'm maintaining my speed nice and high. I want to keep it above 300 kilometers an hour. And gradually just climb away from him. Then I should be able to loop over and attack the full profile of his plane from above. That's the plan anyway. Okay, let's give it a go. And look at this Blenheim. He can not only point his nose up, he can hold it. And he's going for a head-on. What on earth does that plane use for engines? I don't know. I'm glad in the end I destroyed his pilot. I was beginning to wonder if I'd ever be able to stall him out. Okay. We're capping the zone. Because everyone is underneath the floor of the zone. They're all below 800 metres. Right, Yak 1, the Hurricane. Hurricane is flown by the Blenheim pilot. I want to disabuse him of any notions of climbing up for revenge. Okay. And once again, just regaining my altitude back. That's the key. Just if something works in a plane, in this case it's boom and zoom, just keep repeating the same thing over and over and over. There's no need ever to change your tactics. Just do what works and keep repeating it. The Yak 1 there had ideas of climbing up. Now I'm on his tail and he's pulling a horizontal turn, which is interesting, as I'll discuss in a moment. Horizontal turns bleed energy for nothing in response. If he'd gone down into a low yo-yo or split S, he would have regained speed in exchange for altitude with his turn. By pulling a horizontal turn, so he's trying to follow me now. He shed energy in that turn, and in doing so he now no longer has anything like the engine power needed to climb up after me. And I'm just going to hang above him, luring him to come up and get me, and waiting for him to stall. There he is, he's dropped his nose. I'm maybe a little bit far away, he'll gain some speed back by the time I'm down there. But I'm closing very quickly, I'm definitely going to get a shot at him. And there goes his wing. Eight kills and the game's just getting started. And still the vast majority of them are fiddling around on the deck. It is really nice scenery down there, I guess. I can understand it. It's like taking a holiday to Malta. Yeah, it is a very pretty town they've modelled down there. Right, next plane. There's no bombers. Interesting. I would have expected a few PBYs by this stage. Which aren't the easiest planes to tackle in a J2M2 given their gunners. And to the next boom and zoom attack. Either the BB-1 or the AR-2. I'll go the BB-1. And here I have a massive lag burst. I thought for sure I am into the back of that plane because I couldn't control it. Then when it came back, I found myself still in the air, which was a huge relief. Alright, Lazy Necromancer in the Lag 3, he tried to climb up earlier on in a pair of IL-2s. So I know he has it in his mind that climbing is a good thing, and yes, he's trying it now. Okay, I'm flying across the top of him. Don't have a great deal of speed under my belt because I just come out of a zoom climb of my own. So into a spiral climb, he's definitely stalled there, and I can set him alight. I probably should have rolled the plane a bit more to match his heading. I might have got a clean kill straight away, had I done so. And it's a matter of whether the famous Russian self-sealing fuel tanks manage to put his fire out or not. In this case they don't. Right, what's next? One more kill for the double ace in a day. And who should it be but a climbing I-15 directly beneath. If I can get to him before the Junkers 87 does. And now it's feeling a lot like shooting fish in a barrel down there. The further the game goes, the easier it is getting. This guy, who I just shot down the I-15, could cause problems if he knows how to fly that SB2M though. We just saw that the Blenheim gave me a bit of a run for my money. SB2M has much more dangerous gunners on the front of it. If he decides to use that as a fighter, and knows how to use it that way, it could cause me a bit of a problem. So I'm going to approach from underneath. Really don't want to head on if I can avoid it. But he's just going to fly straight and let me helicopter up from under. Okay. Another I-15, we're right into the biplanes now. This one turns and can't quite get guns on him. Never mind. Not going to hang around and turn fight him, obviously. That would be rather silly. I'm going to stall him out. Simply climb up with my dive energy, loop over, and drop down and catch him as he stalls. At least biplanes can stall in this game, unlike Blenheims. . 。 . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Once more we're starting to capture the zone. Okay, an SBD is a target you have to take seriously in this plane. You don't want him getting his twin 50 cals onto you. They would make a mess of your fuel tank in no time whatsoever. Plus he can also turn, but he's shown no interest in me whatsoever. He's diving away to the furball. Not a problem. There's a couple more biplanes down there. May as well go and deal with them. They can shoot down jets after all. They can be dangerous. Okay, I-15 first on the end of the line. Into the dive. He sees me coming. He's coming straight up for a head-on. I'm not going to hang in that very long, though he couldn't quite get his nose up. Where was that Fury? There he is. SPD didn't go into the furball after all. Okay, Fury flew nice and straight for me. That was very considerate of him. Now I can catch the SPD as he's trying to chase whoever it is he's trying to chase. And he also flew nice and straight for me. There's a D3A1 down there which I saw also spawning in. That's a bomber spawn and he's flown straight down to the deck. Lag 3 below, I need to keep an eye on. He's closing the range slowly. In fact, I might be able to just dive in. He's got his eyes fixed on someone else. I think he has. Now he's into a turn, but anyway, I'm committed to the attack. That's a bad angle. I was a bit lucky to get that one. And that was a dive straight down into furball territory, so I need to get up out of here, and yeah, the D3A1's picked me up. But I obviously have a lot more energy than he does, so I should be able to just loop over and drop in above him, particularly as he's now disappeared in the cloud, which means he hasn't got eyes on me either. Where is he? There he is. There we go. So that plane obviously performs quite well at that kind of looping attack, but it depends obviously on your opponent being out of energy, or you can find yourself facing a head-on. And head-ons are not something you want in this plane. Neither do you want to sit on the tail of an enemy like I'm doing here. That's generally a bad idea when it's a bomber. It doesn't appear that he was firing at me, so he might have already lost his gunner, but I didn't know that when I was making that attack. Okay, just got to wait for my cannon to reload. I should be able to finish him off. Again, this is a very bad angle. You really want a deflection shot. Never mind. Kill's done. Now I need to get back in the zone. It'd be rather ironic to have the enemy cap it while I've just flown out of it like that, and strange things have happened. Looks like this lag is the only plane left in the sky. Enemy plane, that is. Quick check of the time showed that there's very little left in this game as well, so I need to finish this guy off quickly. And that's not how to finish a plane quickly. Now he wants to helicopter after me, so I'm just going to hang into a spiral climb. I have to wait for him to stall. I haven't got the room to maneuver around on him until he stalls, in fact. Just a bit too close, and I definitely don't want to go head on. Okay, he's stalled now. And he's down. 40 seconds to go. 35 in fact. Do we have time to cap the zone and win the battle? As the clock runs down, I hope this video has proven helpful and shows you what this plane can do when you do have an altitude advantage. Had there been a Spitfire or something up here waiting for me when I'd climbed, it might have been a very different story in this battle. But I've had enough games where that's been the case, and I don't mind the odd one where you actually get to have a bit of fun like this. Anyway, that's all I have for you in this video. Hope you've enjoyed it, and until the next one, I'll see you in the skies.